This is a pretty not as common of a episode for us because we're normally talking to agents that have been doing this for a lot longer. So this will be really fun for me because I don't get to talk to a lot of new agents. So hang on a second. Okay, hang on. Just going to try the Instagram thing one more time. See if I can get it working. Okay, let's make sure it's connected. Oh, is it connected? Yeah, unable to
I
connect.
see
Why is it?
live. I don't know what.
Yeah, no. It's the Instagram thing is very strange. So it is a super complicated uh new system. Let me see here. Unable to connect. Let me edit it. Can I edit it? I cannot edit it. Okay, so we won't be able to stream onto Instagram, which is absolutely no big deal. We will still upload it there, so it's not a
Okay.
problem. Okay,
Do
let's
you
get
all edit and then throw it out? Okay.
100%. Oh yeah, we have sponsors, we have music. I put an intro. It's
Okay.
it's a whole thing. So
Okay. Give me
we'll
1 second.
probably
Let me just get a water bottle. Give me
please by all
one
means.
second.
Sure.
All right.
Awesome. Okay. So we're gonna jump right in and we'll have fun.
Yes.
All right. Today, my guest on the show is Erica Campos with Coldwell Banker in Chicago. Let me tell you more about Erica. And this is actually a really sort of unique episode for us. So I'll tell you why in just a moment. But with over 2 decades of experience in insurance, finance, sales, and customer service, Erica Campos brings a wealth of knowledge and unique expertise to the table. She's a full-time realtor, member of National Association, of course, Chicago Association, and the Resident Real Estate Council. She's affiliated with Coldwell Banker in Oak Lawn, Illinois. She services Chicago and the suburbs. Now, Erica's at 40 years old. Erica decided just recently to take her own leap of faith and dive headfirst into the world of real estate, leaving her 9 to 5 behind as a financial literary coach. She joined Coldwell Banker with a fire in her eyes and a relentless dedication to succeed. I should mention that Erica just started practicing in the last, Erica, was it the last 8 months, I believe?
Yeah, about that, like 6, 7 months. It was back in June.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was giving you more experience than you have. So 6 months,
Okay.
yes, 6 months and change. I want to tell you more about Erica. I really shouldn't have asked her a question just yet, but I did. But I want you guys to hear this because this is really cool. Within her first 6 months, which she just cleared 6 months, Erica closed an impressive 4 transactions. As most of us remember our first 6 months. We probably didn't close 4 transactions. So, congratulations to her. But this really proved her quick grasp of the real estate market and her ability to connect with clients. She didn't wait for the new year to even start making waves. Already this year, she closed a deal. By the way, the date that we're recording this is January 5th. So, she already has a deal on the books closed for 2024. Congrats to her. But also, I want to also mention this because I think this oftentimes gets overlooked and forgotten about by realtors the longer they're in the business. So Erica's really dedicated herself to education in that first 6 months. So these are some of the accreditations that she has earned just within the last year. So she already is a pricing strategy advisor. She is also a property management trainer. She's gone through property management training, Community Investment Corporation. She's real estate investing, working with investors. She is a financial literary coach, as we mentioned before, and she's a lead renovation, repair, and paint sort of expert. So she is doing a lot of different things, and we're going to talk about why she's adding all of these designations and how they're helping her with her clients. But I want everyone to follow her on the various social channels: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. You can find her, well, LinkedIn, you just search for Erica Campos. But for all the others, she is realtor.erica, Campos. And you can find her. We will have links to all of Erica's social media in the show notes. Erica, long intro, but welcome to the show.
Thanks, DJ. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I am super excited that I got a chance to be on. I've been a fan of your channel for such a long time. Even before I decided to even enroll in real estate school, I would listen to your podcast, and it has been a true motivation for me to get my license, finally do it.
Really?
And
Oh,
while
wow.
I yes, and while I was studying, I'd listen, just to get everyone's perspective and what is going on in the real estate world. And again, it was just very motivational and inspirational, and you're
Oh.
part of the motivation as to why I decided to just go for it.
Well, that I am boy, I am very surprised. I did not know any of this. So wow, that was a lot to take in. Thank you. It's a real it's a real honor to hear that. So thank you so much for sharing that. I was not expecting that.
Mhm.
And we should also mention too that you are the boy. You really threw me off my game with that one. That one hit me pretty hard.
You're doing
Congratulations.
big things. You just
Well, I'm really proud of you as well because people don't usually have this kind of success in their first 6 months, and it wasn't handed to you. These are things you all earned. So but I'm glad to hear that maybe I was a small part of that over the journey. And what I really want to talk about, I want to start with why the switch to real estate first. So you had this sort of, traditional corporate life before. Why the switch?
Well, it all started when I was 17 years old. I was an insurance agent for a local State Farm, agent, Allstate, and then eventually I went to work for brokerages, bigger companies. But I fell in love with the industry back then. I was 17 years old, started part time, still finishing high school. And once I turned 18, I became licensed for both property casualty, life and health, passed them all the first time, same as my real estate license, which I know is a very difficult test. Again, I fell in love with the industry. I was always in contact with realtors and with loan officers and lenders, and I think it also comes naturally to me to understand this industry, and I would
Sure.
always get on the phone with loan officers and processors and ask them, well, what's the interest rate now? What kind of conventional and FHA programs are happening? And so throughout my career, I learned a lot about risk management. So I would go out and inspect the property to make sure it would go through our underwriting, make sure that the house is not falling down, that what we are insuring
Right.
is good structure for both the insurance company and for our clients. And I think that goes a long way now as well with when am looking at houses with my clients. I'm able to detect you're going to need a new roof in the next 2 years. You're going to need this furnace. It's a goner, So I think my clients definitely love that about my experience. And then along the way, of course, you have to be a good salesperson because I was also hourly plus commission, and then you have to provide great customer service because you want to build that trust and you want them to continue coming to you as the expert. So I did that for about 17, 18 years. And in the midst of all that, I also was an educator. So I was building a little side business. Basically, I could say it was life skills, like a life skills educator, teaching life skills and financial literacy since back then. And so I have a big education background too. I started teaching all over Chicago in high schools as well, financial literacy and life skills education. And I think all together with my experience in being so detailed and analytical, and then plus the education piece, I feel again that it's helped me transition into what I am now. And my last job, I was a financial literacy coach, and I taught all over underserved communities and young adults, reentry folks, and that pretty much led me into real estate again. So I think it was just a leeway into that. And once I got licensed and I started doing open houses and I started getting clients right off the bat, I realized, okay, I don't know if I can juggle these two. And I don't like working for other people. I like to, work for myself. And so I told my husband, listen, I really would love to focus on real estate. I know that I can hit the ground running. Give me 6 months. If in 6 months I don't sell one thing, I'll go work for somebody else, I guess. And 6 months out, four transactions, and then the fifth one this month, and I have a couple more in the pipeline. So I guess the insurance and financial has always been in my life, and I think I missed it for some time, and now I'm back into that industry. So I love it. I really love it.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I think a lot about previous careers and how they relate. I'm always interested in thinking about, how does somebody take skills from maybe, in this case, you had somewhat related careers, but
Yeah,
still weren't specifically, super real estate focused. But the idea of customer service
yeah,
and being either a financial literacy coach or an insurance agent, these are really service jobs in my mind. I know they're technically considered sales jobs, but I always think, the best agents are the ones that serve the clients most effectively. And I think that does translate really well, customer service. So I imagine that skill that you honed over almost 20 years probably served you very nicely when you stepped into real estate.
yeah. Oh, definitely did. I know that for me, my clients come first. I will always go above and beyond for them. If I don't know something, I'm not afraid to say, you know what? Let me get back to you. Let me find out. And so then I'll go ask like someone from my brokerage or
Sure.
my managing broker. But it's very important to me. It's my reputation, but it's also important that the trust. I don't want to be known for, real estate agents. We don't have a good reputation a lot of times, right? Some agents have made that for us, unfortunately. So I make sure that I go above and beyond, and even those clients that I've already closed deals with, I still contact them. I still ask how their house is coming along. I send them, congratulation cards, Christmas cards, holiday cards. For Thanksgiving, I know it was only four, but I personally dropped off pumpkin pies with a thank you note and my business card to each and every one of my clients. So, and potential clients. So, you have to go above and beyond. And one of the things that I've listened to in your podcast, and that I know myself, is that clients can easily forget who their realtor was, even who sold them their first house. I'm not going to be that agent. You're going to know who I am. And so even if I don't want to come across as a pain in the butt, right? But again, the holidays, birthdays, so I make sure I collect good information so that I can, continue to communicate with them in more than just a business way, like a personal.
Yeah, you just gave an idea just sprung forth from what you just said. So I want to share it with our audience, but I'm really going to credit Erica with this because it was her words that brought this up in my mind. That I was thinking about when somebody moves in, especially when somebody's buying a property, and whether it's their first property or not, I don't think it matters for this idea. But the idea that you were saying about how you're staying in touch after the sale so they don't forget about you is critical. Obviously, we all know that, but sometimes it can be tricky to think about why to call somebody. And so I was just, an idea that popped up as you were talking was that pretty much in every home there's always an unfinished project of sorts, right? There's some sort of, whether it's there, you have to redo a room or you want to do a bigger sort of thing, or just cleaning out a closet or whatever project. There's, of course, everybody has lists of projects that are unfinished in there wherever they live. And I think too, that would be a fun thing for agents to do once you sell them the home, is reach out, within that next year and say, hey, how's it going? How's the home, as you had said. And then I probably would say, hey, do you have any projects that you're working on for the home? I'm just curious if you're doing anything or things you want to do, because the reason I'm asking is if you need any referrals, if you need, if you're looking for a particular handyman or somebody to help you with this particular project, I've got people to talk to, or at least I'll find good people for you.
Yeah,
That would be a great reason to reach out. And everyone's got a project that they need to do. So
of course.
you just spurned that within me. So I just wanted to share that. And I also want to say too, you are I believe, the newest agent to ever have been on our show. I should have mentioned that at the beginning, because you are only six, or I guess you're in your seventh month now.
Mhm.
So this is really a fun one for me, because all of really a lot of our listeners, it's not so much whether they're new, but they love love, our audience really loves sort of the new person's energy, right? The new
Yes.
realtor's energy, because life has not kicked them around enough yet. So there's still a lot of optimism and excitement, but also you've just really hit the ground running. So tell us how you did it. You mentioned open houses. Was that sort of the first thing you did once you joined Coldwell Banker? Was that a big deal to start getting out there and talking to clients or
Well,
prospective clients?
okay. Well, one, I will say that I'm known to break records. So I've
Ah,
broken another record here. In all my other sales careers, I have broken records and have helped companies reach numbers that are impressive. So, now I've broken another record, and my goal is to break Coldwell Banker's record as the first, newest agent
yeah,
to bring in so many at a certain time. I would like to hit Rookie of the Year, which I think I have one more transaction, and they give you a year, 18 months to do it, and I'm doing it hopefully in 7, 8 months. So I'm hoping that's a record there. But so how did I start? Well, one, I have a very big sphere of influence. I always say that because in one of my prior businesses, I've met thousands of people, and I made
sure.
sure they followed me all through all the social medias. So I am very consistent as much as I can. And so when I decided to go into real estate and signed up for schooling, that is when I started posting like, okay, I'm studying for my real estate exam. This is what I do. This is, I started giving out advice on how to study. And then when I passed, I took a picture of me celebrating downtown Chicago, with the hot Chicago hot dog. And so so I think what helped me too is just announcing it out there, like being consistent about what I'm doing. And believe it or not, people are watching. You do make a difference. You do empower people. You motivate and inspire others. And like I said, you didn't know, how you inspired me. And so this is why I said we don't know it until we put it out there.
Yeah.
And so I think that helped me a lot because, again, before I even decided what broker I was going to join, I already had people asking me to be their agent. And so then for me, I had already been interviewing a couple of companies, and I decided on Coldwell Banker Realty in Oak Lawn. It just felt right. And for
Sure.
me, community is so important. So I needed and wanted an office environment that I can go into to
Yeah.
talk to other agents. I'm very talkative, and I love sharing my experiences and learning from others and vice versa. So that's what I needed. That so I interviewed there, and I really fell in love with their mission and their support for newer agents and their programs, and their CBU University is what they call it, or CB University. Amazing training. So that I believe also helped me hit the ground running. Coldwell Banker is very well known, and I also wanted to make sure I joined a well known company as well. So yeah, I mean, just walking and just inviting my sphere of influence to follow me through this journey, I think has helped me quite a bit, in addition to my experience and expertise.
Yeah, I think that's right. So you did what everybody is told to do,
Mhm.
and most people don't do, which is start telling everybody that you're a realtor and start conditioning them, which takes time because they were used to seeing you in different capacity. Obviously, the finance world and insurance world,
Right.
but certainly not the real estate world specifically. So you had to educate. I guess this goes back to education. Really, you had
Yeah.
to start educating not only the people in your life to know that you're a realtor, but then you started educating them about real estate. So that's what's really great. And social media is
Yeah.
such an effective
Yeah.
medium to do that with. And
Exactly.
so and okay, so you told everybody from all your different previous careers, your sphere of influence, your friends, family, of course, previous clients,
Mhm.
which is amazing because of course with your background in insurance, boy, that's a lovely group of people to say, oh, by the way, I am doing this other thing too.
Yeah.
And everyone's got to live somewhere. So I love that. Well, I want to talk about open houses because
Yeah.
I feel that whether you had a sphere of influence or not, and
Mm.
you did, but a lot of people don't. They move to a new city, they get their license, and they're
Yes.
like, well, that doesn't relate to me. I'm not from here.
Mhm.
but anybody can do an open house. And so let's talk about how to do it, because
Yeah.
we have had people write in sometimes and say, well, I know you guys talk a lot about, every person you talk to says I should do open houses, but I don't have any listings. I'm a little bit too shy to ask, other agents in my office, can I please sit at, do an open house for you? How did you do it? I'm curious, like, what was the process for you?
Well, one, I know that was one of the lead generation. Uh, I want to say, I don't know, like tactic, I guess, that is easier for newer agents, right? And it doesn't matter if you have listings or not. Obviously, especially as a newer agent, you are not. But so I'm not shy. I will ask you, and I'm not afraid of rejection. Being in the insurance industry and in sales, rejection is nothing anymore. All right, on to the next, right? So for me, I would write an email, introduce myself as a new Coldwell Banker realtor to our existing offices. So we have multiple offices all over Illinois. So I said, hey, I'm bilingual. I have this experience, sales, customer service. I'm professional, and if you need help with your open houses, I would love to help you. And so I started getting agents reaching out, from different parts of the city too. I was willing to do.
Really?
Oh yeah, and especially within your office, within your company, you would be surprised. Their agents are very, especially those seasoned agents, they're so busy, they need
Yeah.
help, right? And
Right.
I was not afraid. So I did research on open houses. I also took a Coldwell Banker course on successful open houses, how to do them, the safety protocol, because safety is so important. A checklist. I even added my own little things. So I made sure that everything that I brought had my name, my contact information. So I would make like these little sheets that I would stick onto the water bottles, my marketing, and lucky for me, the agents would tell me, look, this is your open house. So you do whatever this is yours. You take all your leads. So I made sure that I do that. I wouldn't give people the option to sign in. I would say, let me sign you in. And if they would say, oh, no, well, this is a requirement by the buyer and for everybody's safety. And I would not let them sign in. I would do it for them so that they
Right.
wouldn't tell me no, right? So let me have your name, your phone number, email address. Are you working with an agent? Most of the times they are. Most of the times they'll say no. So when they're not, I would make sure that I would really follow up with those particular people. But they all went into my CRM. And so I would follow up. I would send them newsletters, even if they have an agent, because
So
you never know.
let's I'm gonna let's I want to, you just said a lot and all of it was great. I want to slow it down a little bit and kind of go step by step,
Yeah.
because this is really wonderful information for our listeners. So you had the logo giveaways. You when people walk in, the way that you get them to sign in is you say, hey, let me sign you in. And if they say, well, you just go, oh, it's a compliance, it's a safety a measure for us, as agents. Just need your name, email, phone number, whatever.
Mhm.
um and yes, that's a really, really smart way, just to not ever have any no's, because who's going to disagree with safety, right?
Right.
So I love that. And how did you promote the open house?
No, good. Well, if I had about a week or two, then that gave me a chance to create my own flyers, put it all together with my information, post it all over social media, do some door knocking, kind of post them in the library in that area. So kind of like scouting the neighborhood in a sense, talking to people. But I will tell you that for me, that was very rarely the case. Most agents would reach out 2, 3 days prior. So now I'm
Sure.
like rushing, trying to put things together. But as I went along, I learned, okay, Erica, make sure you print several of these so that if you get an agent that contacts you, you have everything ready. You have your checklist, you have this. I made like a little, in my truck, I carried like this little box with all of my open house information, like things that I would need, snacks and tape, like everything you need. I have a whole checklist that I use to make sure that I even booties. I make sure that there's always booties. I make sure I have, the sign-in information, different flyers, I guess, my business cards, just cute things that you can place. And of course, I'd go and purchase snacks for people, something that they can just grab, and go. And then, like I said, a flyer with my information on it. And so,
So person goes through the property, either, they're asking questions or they aren't. They leave, you already have their information. They're walking away with, a flyer or whatever. Then how quickly do you reach back out to them?
I reach out to them the next day.
Okay. So, hey, it was nice meeting you. Like email, phone call. How do you do it? Text?
Well,
How do you?
I do a text message. I start with text messages, and I thank them for joining or for coming into our open house. And if they have any interest, please let me know. I'd be more than willing to help you, give you more information. And then I'd say, if you don't mind, I would like to put you into my newsletter. It gives you great homeowner tips, how to buy or guides. And I rarely ever get a no. So for me, it's contacting them right away and kind of determining, okay, is this person like agreeing, like, okay, they're motivated? Do
Sure.
they have a realtor? Do they not? And then those are like, well, I'm just looking. You a lot of times you get people who are just wanting to look around, just there's open houses. I'm just curious. So I
Sure.
kind of get a feel for them while I'm showing them the house as well.
Right.
So I also try to
Hold
have
on. I have a quick question. Hold on.
sure,
Quick question. So while you're taking their temperature as you're walking them around the property, do you make a little note of it somewhere so you remember? Because I know for me, I would forget if only one person came through, then you won't
yeah,
forget. But if 20 people come through, I'm going to be like, who's what? Do you take notes? Like, how do you do
yes.
it?
So I have a clipboard, a cute little clipboard with the sign in, and then I have a comment section that I write notes. Like it was a couple that they're buying their second home or they're trying to upgrade or downsize. So I do have a notes section and I write it down because yes, sometimes you get so many you forget who they are. And so I definitely keep notes. Yes.
And you can even reference that in your text if you wanted to. If they're,
Yeah.
you don't want to make too long of a text, obviously,
Yeah.
the next day, but you could say, hey, thanks for coming through. Really excited that you're looking at your second home or whatever. Looking, this is exciting that you're moving from the city to the suburbs or
Mhm.
whatever. It's always great when people, I always love when salespeople reference that in their follow ups, something that they, like I get pitched for a lot of technology companies for
Right.
real estate. So I love it when I have a meeting and then the next day they're like, "Hey, great conversation. Oh, by the way, this thing that you mentioned," or
Hmm.
is I always find that to be very
Yeah.
flattering.
It is.
And it's like, oh, they're listening. That's a good thing,
Exactly, personalize it. I know we can all copy and paste, right? I've made
right?
the mistake where I've copied and pasted and forgot to change somebody's name, and I'm like, "Oh,
I've done the same thing.
so that's lesson learned, right? So I make sure that I take notes and I personalize it, and that's pretty much with all of my clients, regardless of what transactions or where I met. I always want to make it personable. I always want to personalize it to our conversation. I think that makes you stand out, and they don't feel like they're selling to me. Nobody wants to be sold to, right? So it's that yes, that's a great point that you brought up. Try to
No,
personalize it.
you're right. I mean, there are people that do like to be sold, but I think
Yes.
they are the minority of
Mhm.
the public. I
Do you
certainly
think
hate.
they're do you think it's those that are in the sales industry that like to be sold to?
Probably, yes. Like my boss, he loves to be sold. He just because he's a business owner and he loves that whole process.
Yeah,
Me, I hate it. I just go, just give me the information. I mean, personality types, we're all just different.
right.
And I'm like, give me the information. I'm a pretty smart guy. I'll figure it out on my own. Just be there to answer my
Yes,
questions and don't try to push me into anything because I don't like being pushed.
yes,
But some people do, most people don't. So yeah, you're doing that. And I know we're talking a lot about open houses, but only
yes,
because I don't get to ever get this granular with somebody because you're so new. Like this is a major thing for you. So okay, so I think we covered open houses and follow up. So you basically are assigning somebody a color or a temperature. Hey,
mhm,
red hot. Who knows, super cold, whatever. And then you put them in your CRM.
yeah.
How so they're getting your monthly newsletter about real estate. And then how often are you reaching out on top of that just to sort of make sure that they know you're not just, somebody on their email list?
So if they're green, I would say I like to touch like maybe 1 or every 2 weeks. Depending on how fast they're looking, if there's an area, if they're not sure. So about once or twice, maybe once every 2 weeks, I guess I would
Yeah.
say on average. And then those that are still on the fence, maybe a yellow, I would say then I met a couple at an open house and they were considering selling each of their own homes and moving in together and buying one. So me, I'm like, oh, that's 3 transactions all in one. So they were somewhat on the fence of they were still thinking about it, so I put them in the yellow category. So what I did is I looked up their current homes and I sent out CMAs. And so I have them signed up for a monthly CMA, like a market report.
Awesome.
And then I noticed that one of the houses, they were not getting any exempts or homeowner exempts. So in my email, I wrote to her, that it was great meeting her, but I am here to help, not just to sell. And I noticed that there was no exempt and she could possibly apply for one. So
And that's money to their pocket. So you're essentially giving them an opportunity to possibly find income
yeah,
or find, a bonus sort of, so to speak.
yeah,
I had the same issue when I bought my first home in Chicago a million years ago. I didn't know about the homeowners exemption and for years I never took advantage of it. And after like 2 or 3 years, somebody was like, "Do you know about this?" And I wasn't in real estate at the time.
right.
And I said, "No." I was like, I had no idea. So like that is incredible. Um how do you look that up, the homeowners exempt? Or that's just a Chicago thing, I'm thinking, right? That's not necessarily a nationwide thing, is it?
Well,
I don't know.
I use Remind.
Remind, yeah,
I use Remind, and then of course, most
it'll
of the
tell
time,
you.
it'll
Yeah.
tell you right there, who the owner is. So I use Remind quite a bit to figure out who the owners are. Then sometimes Remind will give you the contact information for who the
Yep.
owner is. You have to make sure that they're not on do not call list. But mailing, you can mail all you want, right?
Sure.
You could do that. But then I checked like the deed as well, just to make sure. I've also found that people have made mistakes. Things have been filed under, for instance, right now I'm working with the prospect. I'm hoping I'm able to list their condo. And I looked it up and I noticed that someone else's name was on there. And so I asked him about it. And he says, I have no clue who that is, Erica. So I'm like, oh my God.
Someone else owns the property.
Woo! So then I go to the title company, Burnett Title, who's in Coldwell Banker, and I say, "Hey, do me a favor, like just confirm, is this a mistake?" We confirmed that it was a mistake, and then it was fixed a year later. But for a whole
Wow.
year, it had somebody else's name on there as like a deed. And so it's so important that we look up our own properties, but also provide that value to your clients. That's going to tell them that you are ready to work for them, that you're serious, and that you are an expert. Here, I found this. Even if you don't come with me, even if you decide maybe you want to list it with another agent that you've always worked with, but just know that I will go above and beyond. And if maybe I can't work for you, how about you refer business to me?
So here's what I'm hearing from Erica, just speaking directly to our audience. And I hate to make it sound this simple, but I think it probably I'm going to say it's simple but difficult. She basically outworks the competition, meaning, and I don't mean necessarily more hours, although probably more hours that she puts in as well. But most importantly, she takes the professionalism of the business very, very seriously. She wants to really cover all of her bases. You're very intentional about how your process is. You have a process for open houses. You have a process. I mean, I want to switch gears just for a moment because you went full steam into I need lots of designation process and you knocked them out. And I want to mention this to everybody. Look, there's a certain amount of marketing that is benefit to, even if you don't learn anything from the designations, and of course you will, but even if you didn't, and it's all a big, just not that helpful, although it will be, but even if it wasn't, it still looks really good when you have all of these designations after. Now, nobody knows what they mean, and nobody knows really, nobody cares. But what they do care about is that you're dedicated to the craft, you're dedicated to the industry, and you're taking it seriously. And most people don't have 7 different designations, which I think you have, or close to that. The only one I would recommend that I didn't see on there, and I'm sure you're going to do it anyway because you've done all the others. Certified negotiation expert, I think, is a good one. And
That's my
yeah, you're nodding because
that's
of
my
course you're going to do
next
that too.
one. Yeah, that's my next
That's
so
yeah,
mhm,
but the point is this is a way to gain an edge as in competition, and that's not why Erica's doing it. She's doing it because it'll better service her clients. That's really the main reason to do it. But it's a nice little side benefit to be like,
mhm,
oh, by the way, when you're talking to other agents, they may, she's not going to say this, but they're not going to have all of those initials after their names. So
mhm.
I absolutely really applaud you. You're probably um, the probably the only guest we've had on with that many designations. And typically, when people go down that path, they can tend to get caught up in education and then not production. And you're doing both,
Right.
and that's what's really impressive. Is you're not like, well, I'm just going to sit and do online classes all day so I get designations. You've also closed 6 deals in your first 6 months,
Mhm,
and even a deal already this year, which is incredible. And you're really just following the process. You're doing all of the things that every single guest I've ever had on here says, this is what you should do. And you're actually doing it. So
mhm,
I am so excited to hear about your success. So let's talk about, so we talked about open houses. I want to also, and we talked about what I call aftercare, which is just the following up,
mhm.
staying in touch. You're calling these people or texting or emailing them every couple of weeks. You're saying, hey, just checking in. How's everything going? You're providing value to them. Let's talk about social media. What are you doing on social well, what are you doing? How do you think about posting content? Are you doing mostly videos, images, both? Are you talking about yourself? Some realtors are like, here's me at the gym this morning at 5 a.m. Others just do, hey, here's this cool house I'm, doing an open house for or doing a showing
Mhm.
at. What is the kind of content that you push out there, and how do you think about
All of it. However,
it?
my goal for 2024 is to get better at being intentional with my social media as far as, the content that I'm posting. Video is one that I am extremely afraid of. I don't know why. I'm a big public speaker. I've done it for a gazillion years, but that camera hits and I'm like frozen, right? Like, or I feel like, well, what do I say? What I think people want to see you naturally, whether you stutter, whether you mess up, or whether your hair is this way. I think people now, I think that's more acceptable. I never wanted to sit there and edit, my videos. I just felt like, why? So I have to get better at posting videos that are educational as far as in rates dropping or, program changes or what I do on a day-to-day basis. That's one thing I would like to show people is, okay, this is what I do from the minute I wake up. It sounds boring, but this is how I search MLS. This is how I organize, my whole day of taking a client to showings. It can be boring, but that is something that I would like to show, social media. Um, Posting as well. I want to be a little more intentional as far as providing value, more value. But I will say that what I have posted are pictures and, of course, of me studying when I passed. And I have a lot of followers that email me or send me private messages asking me, what advice can you give me for passing this exam? Right. So I had a little secret that one of my instructors gave us. It's a guide that a lot of people don't know is out there and it's free. Every state has it, um, that it basically walks you through, hey, this is how your test is going to be structured, and this is how many questions are going to be per topic. This is how many you're going to have.
Where do you find that, by the way, for anyone who might be studying? We can provide a link to that in the show notes when we
Yes,
publish the episode. But do you happen to know off the top of your head?
I will say that I have gotten, I think, over 20,000 views over it, and it's been 6 7 months.
Oh, you made a video about it. Yeah, yeah. We'll
Yes,
we'll um
there's a
we'll
video
we'll
on
link
my
to it.
TikTok. There's my video on my TikTok that's there, but it's a handbook and every state has it. It's a Illinois candidate handbook. is what it's
Okay,
called.
we'll link to the TikTok video for
Yes,
sure,
every state
because
has
I've
it.
never heard of that, so that's amazing,
Yep, on top of
for
your real estate book and whatever else, that right there is like the Bible of real estate to pass.
yeah,
So that video got me a lot of comments and a lot of views. I think it's 15, 20,000 or more views. I
it's
think.
amazing, it's amazing.
So I post things, little things like that. I do post when I've done open houses, what I'm doing. Um, I definitely post when I am under contract, especially when I close. My gifts that I take my clients, I always take pictures of the attorney and the whole team that was involved in it. And I've gotten a lot of praises for, wow, you just started and you're on fire. I had closings back to back to back to back. And so so just sharing your wins. And even I have to get better at sharing some of my struggles too. It's not always easy. So 2024, I do plan on being more intentional with what I post.
Yeah, I think sharing the losses or the struggles is something that agents tend to be afraid to do. We don't like to, nobody wants to post vulnerabilities that are, challenging, to things that are hard. Of course, everyone's going through hard things at all times,
Mhm.
and I wish people were more courageous to want to share that on social media because I don't know about you, but I'm tired of seeing all the wins. I love seeing the wins, but I know that life isn't all wins.
Yes.
And so I think agents that are willing to be vulnerable, which again takes courage, and really not necessarily share, oh gosh, I'm going through a divorce or something. I mean, you'd want to create healthy boundaries to make sure, you're not giving information away that isn't appropriate.
Right.
But, if you're having a bad day, if you're struggling, if a deal falls through, people want to hear about
Mhm.
how you handle, not you, Erica, but just I'm
Mhm.
speaking to the audience.
Mhm.
People love to hear about how people move through struggle because we all struggle. And so I encourage everyone who is only posting, here's me lifting my max at the gym in the morning. Show a time where maybe you didn't have it and you couldn't get to the gym that morning and you stayed in bed and and you ate bad food all morning and or
Mhm.
whatever. You did something that wasn't perfect,
Right.
and I think talking about imperfection is the
Mm,
most relatable thing on the planet.
yes.
But you talked about being afraid of video. That is which you would never know that if you're either watching our episode or listening, because of course Erica is seemingly super comfortable in front of the camera, super confident, very elegant and eloquent. But she is telling you something vulnerable. It's hard for her to get in front and film video. So I would recommend we have Kim Ritberg is our video expert for our channel here for keeping it real. Kim Ritberg, literally all she teaches people is how to do great video, how to get comfortable. So little shout out to Kim Ritberg. We'll have a link to her stuff
Yeah.
as well because we're the biggest Kim fans. She's out of New York and she's the queen of that. She comes from the media background and
Okay.
knows how to do video. So she
Wow.
is she is a great guide for
Yeah.
you. So definitely
Thank
check her
you.
out. But yes, I want to finish up with challenges. So what is hard for you right now? And I don't mean necessarily in your personal life, although you could share that if you want to, but I'm mostly interested in your professional life where we heard about all these successes. Where is the struggle right now? What is hard for you right now?
Well, what is hard for me right now? I will say, being a new agent, it's not having uh, a ton of experience, like not having, sold or closed on 20, 40, 50, 60 deals, like some agents have. And with each deal, each transaction, I learned something new. Whether it's something that I helped with or something I might have already known, or a mistake. So I always say we learn from our mistakes, right? So you take that along. I'm very hard on myself when it comes to making mistakes. I'm a perfectionist, and so I always want to make sure that I have the information, that I know what I'm speaking about. But when I do make a mistake, or when there's something that I don't know, I'm not afraid to say or apologize. I'm sorry, I didn't know that. But going forward, that always stays in my head. Like, I will never make that mistake ever again. An example I'll give you is I also work with investors. My current clients that I'm working with, they're in the pipeline right now. They're newer investors, and so for one of them, she wanted to buy a multi-unit, property. So we went to go see one, And it was a very unique property, very nice. It was like four townhouses together in one building. And I remember the realtor saying to us, "Well, I can only show you two of those units because the tenants didn't allow us to go into the other two units, even though we gave them 48-hour notice." I said, "All right." So my client fell in love with it, and they said, "Oh, those other two units are practically the same." So we went with that. Day of the inspection, we were finally able to get into those two units.
Turns out.
And well, yes, it turns out that first off, those two units look nothing like the other two units, and there was water damage from both, ceilings,
Mm,
meaning there was roof damage, right? So the inspector starts doing his thing, and he's like, "Well, I would think twice about this." And I said, "You know what? Yes." And learning that going forward with her and me and my client, we agreed we're not going to be placing any offers until we get to see all the units available. Because we're not going through this again. And I don't want to put my client in a situation where she's consistently paying for inspections and then
right.
for a mistake like that, right? So it's something I learned along the way, and I take bits and pieces of what I've learned in experiences throughout, and it just gets better. It's just getting better and better. So
Well, I love that. I think really what I'm hearing is embrace, as uncomfortable as it is, embrace mistakes and embrace imperfection, because it is, as you said, it is in fact, it's the only way we actually learn, believe it or not. So we don't learn when the stove is cold and we touch it. We learn when the stove is hot and we touch it. And
yeah.
hopefully we only have to learn that once.
Right. But my
But we have to,
understanding too, as a realtor, even those who are very well seasoned, they still don't know everything. They
I
they
know.
they still learn something, or the laws change so much. So that's why I'm so passionate about education and staying up to date with these laws, especially with Chicago and then the suburbs. All these little suburbs, and Chicago has their own laws, regulations. The city, Illinois does as well, and you got to make sure you understand the contracts between Chicago and Illinois, which one goes with what. There's just so much. I've also made sure I'm bilingual, so that is also something that sets me apart. I want to say 98% of my clientele are, Latinos, and I want to say maybe like 80% are Spanish speaking. So I made sure that the team I built, and when I say team, I mean vendors, all were Spanish speaking, right? Because as a loan officer, you need to be able to do your job. I can't do mine and yours together. It's just that's impossible. And it's not my expertise. Same thing with the inspector, same thing with the attorneys. So I'm always looking for good vendors that can provide that service to my clients. Um, and also my husband, he is a huge support. He's a electrical city inspector,
Oh,
and very knowledgeable. And so whenever I run into a situation, I FaceTime him like, why does this look like this? Or what is this? And he's like, there has to be certain amps. I mean, he's so much help and so much support. And I'm so grateful that I have someone, that can support me that way. And on top of that, I know you mentioned building like vendor list in one of your podcast episodes. And that's so important because he knows the trade. He has a lot of friends in different trades, right? So he's an electrical guy, he has a plumber, he has a friend who also has his own electrical company, he has a tile guy, a flooring guy. So I am always able to refer, them to my clients, which is good. But I'm also very tough on I'm very particular on who gets to be on my vendor list.
you should be. You
And
should be
yes,
because
exactly.
yeah, well, you should be because they're your reputation. So if you send somebody, so yeah, so let's it's really a great lesson to make sure our vendors are doing a good job. And what I recommend is once when you refer, not you, Erica, of course,
Mhm.
just as general advice to our listeners, when we do refer an agent to or sorry, a client to a particular vendor, what I would say is, hey, I'm referring you to so and so. They're amazing. If for some reason you don't have a good experience with them, or if they don't get back to you, or something happens where you're not happy with it, please call me immediately. I have other people, and there's nothing wrong with saying that. And I think that really sets it up so that, because they might feel like, well, I don't want to tell Erica the person was no good because she really loved them. And I always like to set it up so it allows for somebody to say, I didn't really have a good experience, or they didn't get back to me in 3 days or whatever.
Yeah.
So
That's where
anyway, I
follow-up
think,
comes in, the follow-up,
yep,
because a lot of times they don't wanna tell you, right? And for me, I need to know because it's my reputation, like you said, and I have to also let them know. It's a courtesy, like, "Hey, just FYI, this is what my client said, and, is that what happened, or can you explain the situation?" So that way they also have the opportunity to fix the issue or whatever
sure.
my client was unsatisfied for or with. But I think having a good list of your vendors experienced as well, that makes a world of difference, especially the lender and the attorney.
Well, well, this is a perfect place to wrap up the episode. There's been so much value you've provided, Erica. I really can't thank you enough for not only being a listener of ours while you were building your business and still continue to be a listener as you're building your business. I really thank you as just a podcast host for our listeners. And I also want to thank all of our listeners for paying attention and listening to this episode. Being a supporter of our show means a lot to me. And if you are somebody that's like, I'd like to be on the show someday, Erica had that dream, and
Mhm.
here she is. And it's funny because I didn't know that, and I was asking Erica just when she came on. I go, "Did we find you, or did you find us?" Because I don't really do too much with the casting. And she said, "Oh, yeah, no, I know about you." But the idea is that you can also be on the show over time. And Erica is somebody that you're going to want to watch. She's going to be Rookie of the Year this year. She is already crushing it. She's taking this job extremely seriously. And for anyone who's a little bit sad or depressed because of the condition of the market, yeah, a lot of people are. That's okay. But if you surround yourself with content from people who are just pushing through and doing the work, Erica doesn't know that this is a hard market because it's the only market she's known. So to her, this is just what she's doing. So if you're a little bummed out because things are harder now, yes, I get it. I'm with you. We have 800 agents here. They're depressed too. Everyone's
Mhm.
dealing with this. But if you can connect yourself with accounts like Erica's, who's consistently just pushing forward, it's easier to be motivated to continue to do the same. So please, everybody, follow her on the various social channels: Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. You can find her realtor.erica Campos, and then LinkedIn, of course, just look for her name. We will have links to all this in the show notes. And if anyone out there needs a realtor in Chicago, maybe you have a client moving, perhaps they're Spanish speaking, and they need someone to work with. Erica would love the opportunity to connect with agents from all over the country. And by the way, Chicago, people don't, when they retire, a lot of times they move. They move somewhere warmer. So Erica's got people that at some point she's going to need to push out. And although Erica might just get licensed in every state, knowing how seriously she takes the
Yes.
business. But no, of course she's going to refer business out. So if you want to connect with her, what's the best way, Erica, that an agent or maybe even a client could reach out to you?
My social media platforms, they can reach out to me there. They can also reach out to me directly, 630-291-5971, or they can email me at erica.campos at CB, which is C as in Charlie, B as in boy, cbrealty.com.
Link to those in the show notes as well. Stay in touch with Erica. She's got amazing energy. She takes the job seriously. And maybe, I mean, I'm going to follow her because I need to be motivated sometimes too.
Yeah.
And her energy is not only infectious, but she's just one of those rising stars that we can all learn from, even if we're 20 plus years in the business, because she is really doing it. Erica, thank you so much for being the newest realtor to ever be on our show, one of the first agents of the year to be on our show as well, and also congratulations on doing a deal already this year in your first 5 days. That is incredible. Please check out Erica. Follow her all over social media. On behalf of the audience, Erica, thank you for reaching out to us. Thank you for being part of our show. Also, Eric, on behalf of Erica and I, thank you, the audience. Thanks for, gosh, I think we had This was our 6th or 7th year, I don't know, 6 years maybe, of doing the show. We have 500 plus, 520 episodes, I think. So thank you for keeping our show going. Please tell a friend. Please tell everybody who you know, especially new agents. They need to hear somebody having success, and Erica is doing that. And it's not just falling in her lap. She's literally making all of this happen herself. So send this episode to another agent who's maybe starting out, or one who's just struggling right now. And most agents are struggling. So this is a great opportunity to tell other friends about the show. We appreciate you for that. And also, please support our sponsors. We love our sponsors. They are the ones that paying the bills for us. So thank you to our sponsors. Please check out their products and services so that they continue to advertise with us. All right, Erica, thank you so much. We will see everybody on the next episode.
Thank you. Have a good